Every politician is selling you a story. Some sell hope, some sell fear. Some sell a cheaper grocery bill they cannot deliver alone. This is not about hating politics. It is about seeing the trick. The promise is simple, but the system taking your money is complicated. The most successful con is not a lie shouted in your face. It is a truth cut in half. A candidate points at high prices and says, "I will fix that." The crowd cheers because the pain is real. But the missing half is where the money hides. By the end, you will understand why people can be told inflation is cooling while still feeling broke at the checkout line. You will see how prices, packages, coupons, loyalty cards, store layouts, delivery apps, and campaign promises all feed the same machine. The claim sounds harsh, so let us clean it up first. Not every elected official is a criminal. Not every public servant is corrupt. But the job rewards performance, blame, theater, and promises faster than it rewards boring honesty. That is the con. A con artist studies what people need most, then builds a story around that need. In American life, few needs hit harder than food. Rent can be explained away. Gas can be blamed on oil. But groceries stare at you from the receipt. That receipt is where politics becomes personal. You do not need an economist to tell you whether cereal, eggs, meat, coffee, and fruit feel expensive. You know it before the cashier says the total. You know it when you put something back. Official language can sound calm. Food-at-home inflation rose at a slower pace in 2024 and 2025 than during the worst pandemic surge. That is true. But slower increases still mean prices are rising from an already painful level. This is the first trick politicians love. They talk about the rate of change. Families live with the level of prices. If your grocery bill jumped hard and then rises slowly, nobody feels rescued. They feel trapped on a higher floor. When inflation cools, many people imagine prices should fall. Usually they do not. Cooling inflation often means prices are increasing less quickly. That difference sounds technical, but it is the gap between a press conference and a kitchen table. So the politician points at the opponent and says, "They made your card expensive." The opponent points back and says, "No, they did." Both sides know the truth is messier. Supply shocks, wages, fuel, rent, interest rates, profits, weather, disease, and market power. The grocery aisle is a perfect stage because every shopper is already angry. The anger is not fake. What is fake is the idea that one speech, one bill, or one party can instantly unwind years of pricing decisions across a massive food system. Food travels through farms, processors, distributors, warehouses, trucks, stores, apps, and advertisers before it lands in your cart. The farm price matters, but the shelf price also reflects processing, packaging, labor, refrigeration, rent, logistics, software, and retail strategy. This is why a politician can sound powerful and still be vague. They promise to fight corporate greed, cut taxes, lower energy costs, punish price gouging, protect farmers, help families, or defend free markets. Each phrase is designed to catch a different fear. The audience hears relief. The donor hears policy. The lobbyist hears access. The campaign hears a message that can be tested, repeated, and turned into an ad. The grocery shopper hears the only thing they wanted in the first place. Maybe next month will hurt less. That is the emotional center of the con. The promise is not always completely false. It is often incomplete. A policy can help at the margins. A law can improve transparency. Better competition can matter. But the simple promise is usually cleaner than reality. The grocery store itself is not a neutral room. It is an engineered environment built around attention, habit, and fatigue. The longer you stay, the more decisions you make. The more decisions you make, the easier it is to stop comparing. Staples are often separated. Milk in one direction, bread somewhere else. Produce near the entrance, snacks near the path, promotions at eye level, small temptations near checkout. The store is not a maze by accident. It is a map of impulse. None of that means shoppers are stupid. It means shoppers are human. People shop after work with kids, with a budget, with stress, with a phone buzzing, with meals to plan. The industry does not need to fool everyone. It only needs to nudge. Politics works the same way. Campaigns do not need every voter to study a budget. They need a phrase that lands in a tired mind. They need a villain. They need a hero. They need a moment where frustration turns into loyalty. Look at the phrase, lower prices. It sounds direct, but how? Lower input costs? Stronger antitrust enforcement? Smaller tariffs, better ports, cheaper energy, more farm labor, less concentration, more competition, direct subsidies? Each answer creates winners, losers, and donors. A serious explanation is hard to fit on a yard sign. A blame line is easy. So the blame line wins. That is why politicians keep turning complicated markets into moral cartoons. The cartoon is useful, even when the pain is real. Now walk back into the store and look at packaging. Shrinkflation is not magic. It is simple. A box can look familiar while holding less. The sticker may not scream higher price, but the unit price quietly does the talking. Government analysis has found product downsizing exists, but it explains only a small slice of broad inflation measures because downsized items are a limited share of the total basket. That nuance matters. Shrinkflation is real, but it is not the whole story. That is exactly why it is politically useful. It is visible. It is annoying. It feels sneaky. A smaller bag of chips explains anger better than a chart about labor costs, freight rates, insurance, drought, avian flu, and corporate margins. The best consumer defense is unit pricing. Price per ounce, price per pound, price per count. But even that can be made annoying. Labels can be small, inconsistent, or mentally tiring. One item shows ounces, another shows pounds, another shows count. When comparison becomes work, brands win. When the shopper is rushed, the familiar package wins. When the sale tag is loud, the unit price becomes background noise. This is not a conspiracy, it is retail psychology doing what retail psychology does. Now add coupons. Once, a coupon felt like a bonus. Today, discounts can feel like homework. Clip it in the app. Load it to the card. Buy the exact size. Buy multiple units. Watch the expiration. Hope the register applies it correctly. The shopper who has time, a phone, an account, and patience can pay less. The shopper who is elderly, busy, offline, distracted, or just exhausted can pay more. The same store can feel generous to one customer and punishing to another. That is not an accident of modern commerce. It is segmentation. Stores and brands want to charge different effective prices to different people without putting a different sticker on every shelf. Coupons let price-sensitive shoppers chase deals while others pay the regular price. Politicians understand segmentation too. One message for workers, another for business owners, another for retirees, another for suburban parents, another for online outrage. The product is the same candidate, but the packaging changes depending on who is watching. Loyalty cards are where the modern grocery bargain becomes more complicated. They can save real money. They can also collect a detailed picture of what you buy, when you buy it, how often you switch, and what discount might bring you back. Data changes the relationship. The store is no longer just selling food. It is learning your habits. It can see brand loyalty, dietary routines, baby purchases, pet supplies, snacks, medicines, and the moments when you respond to a deal. Kroger has said it does not personalize the underlying shelf prices of its products, while reporting and consumer advocates have raised concerns about detailed shopper profiles and personalized discounts. That distinction matters. The base price may be common, while the deal you see can vary. That is the future shopper's fear. Not one public price, but a fog of offers, points, digital deals, and targeted nudges. Maybe you saved money. Maybe you gave up data. Maybe both. The hard part is knowing the trade in real time. Politics has its own loyalty program. Give your email, give your phone number, donate once. Sign one petition. Suddenly the campaign knows which fear, slogan, and issue makes you click. Your outrage becomes a profile. Your profile becomes a fundraising target. This is why political emails sound apocalyptic even when the world is not ending. Urgency raises response. Fear raises donations. Anger raises sharing. A calm explanation of food distribution does not pull money like a message saying everything is at stake tonight. Private label is another piece of the grocery puzzle. Store brands have grown because shoppers want relief and because retailers want more control. A store brand can offer a lower price than a national brand while giving the retailer power over shelf space and margins. Private label is not automatically worse. In many categories, it is perfectly good. Sometimes it is made by experienced manufacturers. The old stigma around store brands has faded because the price gap has become too painful to ignore. Walmart has expanded its store label food strategy as shoppers search for value. using private brands to offer lower-priced options and keep customers inside its ecosystem. That does not make it evil. It makes it a retailer responding to pressure and opportunity at the same time. Costco built enormous trust around its private label strategy by making its store brand feel like a quality signal, not a downgrade. The lesson is powerful. When a retailer owns the relationship, it can turn value into loyalty and loyalty into recurring trips. Aldi relies heavily on private label products, which helps simplify assortment and sharpen price perception. The smaller selection can feel limiting, but it also reduces the mental chaos of choosing among dozens of nearly identical boxes. Target has used owned brands to compete for shoppers who want style, convenience, and price relief in one trip. Store brands are not just cheap substitutes anymore. They are part of how retailers defend margin while telling customers they are saving money. Amazon has pushed grocery and household private labels because the company understands the value of habit. Once a shopper trusts a default option, the platform does not need to win the sale again every week. It only needs to remain convenient. Private labels reveal a quiet truth. The shopper thinks the battle is between brands. The retailer knows the deeper battle is over who owns the customer. Once the store owns the customer, every shelf becomes a negotiation. National brands spend heavily to stay familiar. They fight for eye level. They fight for end caps. They fight for promotions. They fight for emotional memory. You may think you are choosing cereal. Often you are choosing the story that reached you first. That sounds a lot like elections. The better-known name starts ahead. The better-funded message travels farther. The best-positioned slogan sits at eye level. Voters may believe they are comparing policies, but often they are comparing feelings they have been handed repeatedly. Store layout matters because attention is scarce. End caps look like bargains, but they are not always the cheapest option. A giant display can signal value without proving it. The shopper sees abundance and assumes a deal. In politics, the end cap is the viral clip. A dramatic hearing, a clever insult, a 30-second ad, a photo at a factory, a speech at a diner. It creates the feeling of action, even when the policy details remain thin. Premium products add another layer. A grocery aisle can sell regular, organic, natural, artisan, grass-fed, local, keto, gluten-free, plant-based, family size, snack size, and limited edition. Some labels are meaningful, some are mainly signals. The point is not that premium products are fake. Many cost more to make. Some meet real standards. But shoppers are often forced to decode language under pressure. A softer word can carry a harder price. Politicians use premium language too. Freedom, security, fairness, strength, relief, reform, accountability. These words can be real, but they are also packaging. The word does not tell you the ingredients. You have to turn the box around. The ingredient list in politics is the bill text, the funding source, the enforcement plan, and the trade-off. That is where the magic fades. A promise that sounded free now has costs. A plan that sounded bold now has exemptions. Convenience is the most honest price increase because it does not hide what it is. Pre-cut fruit costs more than whole fruit. Ready meals cost more than raw ingredients. Single-serve packs cost more than bulk. You pay because time is scarce. But convenience also exposes inequality. A household with time, storage, transportation, cooking tools, and predictable schedules can buy differently. A household under pressure buys survival. The same advice, cook from scratch, can sound responsible to one family and insulting to another. Delivery apps make this clearer. You may pay item markups, service fees, delivery fees, small order fees, tips, and subscription costs. The final total can drift far from the shelf price before you notice how many layers were added. Instacart has faced scrutiny over digital pricing experiments and transparency concerns, and the broader lesson is bigger than one company. Once grocery shopping moves through an app, the shelf becomes software, and software can test, rank, promote, and personalize. That does not mean every app is cheating. It means the digital shelf has more levers than the physical shelf. Search order matters. Substitutions matter. Sponsored placement matters. Delivery speed matters. Friction disappears, but so does some price awareness. Politicians love convenience too. They package identity as a shortcut. Vote for us and you are decent. Vote for them and you are the problem. That is easier than studying zoning, agriculture policy, monetary policy, antitrust law, and supply chains. The American voter and the American shopper face the same exhaustion. Too many choices, too many claims, too many hidden incentives. Too many people insisting the answer is simple right before asking for your money. Now look at grocery profits carefully. Grocery retail is often a low-margin business compared with many industries, but small margins on huge volume can still produce serious money. And during disruptions, some large players gained advantages smaller competitors did not have. The Federal Trade Commission reported that major market participants used size during pandemic supply disruptions in ways that could intensify pressure on smaller rivals. It also noted that food and beverage retailer revenues rose above costs during that period. That does not prove every high price was illegal. It does not prove every retailer acted the same way. It does show why the public feels suspicious when companies blame costs, keep prices high, and report strong results. Good analysis must hold two truths at once. Costs really did rise. Supply chains really did break. Labor, fuel, rent, and interest rates matter. Also, some companies use the moment to protect or expand margins because that is what companies are built to do. That sentence is too honest for politics. It does not fit neatly into left or right. One side wants every price increase to be greed. Another wants every price increase to be government. The truth is less useful for fundraising. So the con continues. Politicians turn your grocery pain into a weapon, but rarely explain the full battlefield. They know anger needs a target. If they do not provide one, someone else will. Here is a simple example. Egg prices can rise because of bird flu, flock losses, feed costs, transportation, and demand. But the campaign version becomes, they failed you. Or corporations robbed you. Or regulation did it. Sometimes pieces are true. The slogan is still incomplete. Coffee can be affected by weather, global supply, shipping, currency, and tariffs. Beef can be affected by herd size, feed, drought, processing capacity, and consumer demand. Fresh produce can be hit by labor, fuel, water, disease, and spoilage. None of this comfort helps when the total is too high. People do not eat explanations. They eat food. That is why honest economic language can feel cruel. It can be accurate and still emotionally useless. Politicians exploit that emotional gap. They translate complexity into blame. They promise control over systems they only partially control. They sell certainty because uncertainty does not win elections. The same pattern appears in wages. A candidate says wages are up. A worker says rent ate it. A candidate says jobs are strong. A parent says childcare erased the raise. A candidate says inflation is down. A shopper says the cart is still smaller. Both can be telling the truth from different angles. The con begins when one angle is sold as the whole picture. That is how public trust dies. Not only from lies, but from technically true statements that dodge the lived reality. Trust in the federal government has been low for decades, and confidence in Congress has often been dismal. People are not imagining the disconnect. They feel spoken at, studied, targeted, and harvested, but not truly represented. Campaign finance deepens that suspicion. Super PACs can raise unlimited funds for independent political activity under federal rules. Lobbying is disclosed, but disclosure does not make influence feel equal. Ordinary voters see access priced far above their reach. This is not a secret room with smoke and envelopes. It is mostly legal, documented, professional, and routine. That is what makes it more unsettling. The machine does not need to break the rules when the rules already favor people with money. Lobbyists do not usually buy votes like a cartoon villain. They shape language, timing, exceptions, definitions, studies, relationships, and priorities. They know where the comma belongs. They know which office is tired. They know when nobody is watching. In grocery policy, the same thing matters. A rule about labeling, competition, merger review, data use, fees, or farm support can move money quietly. The public sees the slogan. Industry reads the fine print. That is why politicians talk like warriors during campaigns and accountants after elections. Before the vote, everything is moral clarity. After the vote, everything is procedural difficulty. The villain becomes a stakeholder. The promise becomes a framework. Do not miss the symmetry. Stores make savings feel like a game. Campaigns make citizenship feel like a team sport. In both places, the person with less time and less information pays a price. A shopper who studies unit prices, tracks sales cycles, avoids impulse zones, compares store brands, and cooks around staples can fight back. A voter who reads beyond slogans, follows money, checks bill text, and watches outcomes can fight back too. But both tasks take time. And time is the resource the system quietly taxes. The busy person becomes the easiest person to steer. The exhausted person becomes the easiest person to upsell. The angry person becomes the easiest person to mobilize. This is why the phrase "every politician is a con artist" lands, even if it is too broad as a literal statement. It captures a feeling, the sense that public pain keeps being converted into private advantage. The real con is not that politicians create every problem. They do not. The con is that they repeatedly overstate their power to fix problems while understating the interests that benefit from keeping problems confusing. Think about the checkout screen. The total appears at the end, after every small choice has already been made. Politics works that way too. The cost of slogans arrives later, after the applause. People ask why voters keep falling for promises. The answer is painful. Because the promises are aimed at real wounds. If groceries, rent, healthcare, gas, insurance, and debt are squeezing you, hope is not weakness. Hope is oxygen. A con artist does not sell something nobody wants. He sells the thing people need so badly they lower their guard. In politics, that thing is control. Control over prices, control over borders, control over safety, control over dignity. And when control feels impossible, blame feels almost as good. Blame gives shape to stress. It gives a name to the pressure. It makes chaos feel organized. That is why blame is the cheapest product in American politics. Grocery stores also sell control. Meal plans, family packs, club deals, points, subscriptions, automatic reorder, pickup windows, fuel rewards, cashback offers. Each tool can help. Each tool can also pull you deeper into one ecosystem. Another quiet cost is the basket effect. A shopper may save on the advertised item and still spend more overall because the trip becomes larger. The deal brings you in, but the total depends on everything else that follows. That is why weekly ads are powerful. They frame the mission before you enter. You arrive hunting a discount, then pass bakery smells, seasonal displays, prepared meals, and stacks of snacks placed where discipline is tired. Bulk buying can help, but only when the household can use the product before it spoils and can spare the cash up front. A larger package is not automatically cheaper if it strains the week or fills a small kitchen. Membership savings can also be real and uneven. The family with a car, freezer, pantry, and predictable meals can turn bulk into value. The person riding the bus after work may be locked out of the same math. This is one reason checkout pain becomes political anger. People are told to make better choices, but not everyone has the same menu of choices. Advice that ignores time, transport, storage, and health is not advice. It is judgment. Substitution is another hidden tax on attention. You swap beef for chicken, fresh for frozen, name brand for store brand, restaurant for home cooking. Each swap may be rational. Together, they can feel like a slow retreat. And because the retreat is private, people blame themselves. They think maybe I am bad with money, maybe I shop wrong, maybe I should work more. Politicians step into that shame and offer a cleaner story. It was done to you. Sometimes the cleaner story contains truth. Policy mistakes happen. Corporate power exists. Global shocks hit. But when any speaker tells you one enemy explains everything, listen up. Complexity is not an excuse. It is the map. That map shows why grocery frustration crosses party lines. A parent with a red hat and a parent with a blue sign can feel the same punch at the register. The cart does not care about ideology. The total lands. The tragedy is that shared pain could create shared pressure for clearer prices, stronger competition, and honest policy. Instead, the pain is often divided, branded, and sold back to us as proof that only one tribe understands reality. Once you're inside an ecosystem, comparison gets harder. Your points are here. Your coupons are here. Your saved list is here. Your delivery address is here. Your favorite substitutions are here. Leaving means starting over. Political ecosystems work the same way. Your friends are here. Your media is here. Your enemies are defined here. Your explanations are here. Leaving does not just mean changing your mind. It can feel like losing a community. That is why the strongest con is identity. Once a purchase becomes identity, price comparison feels like betrayal. Once a party becomes identity, policy comparison feels like disloyalty. That is when the seller has real power. Now consider the word affordability. It is everywhere because it is safe. Everyone supports affordability. The fight starts when you ask who pays, who earns less, who is regulated, who is subsidized, and who loses pricing power. Affordable food can mean stronger competition. It can mean lower trade barriers. It can mean farm support. It can mean better wages. It can mean cheaper energy. It can mean fewer fees. It can mean public benefits. It can mean all or none. When a politician says affordability without explaining the mechanism, treat it like a giant sales sign with no unit price. It might be real. It might be bait. You cannot know until you read the details. The grocery aisle teaches a civic skill. Do not trust the front of the package. Turn it around. Compare the unit. Ask what changed. Ask why the discount exists. Ask what data you traded. Ask whether the deal changes your behavior. Apply that to politics. Do not trust the front of the campaign. Turn it around. Compare the donors. Ask what changed. Ask who gets the exemption. Ask what happens after the election. Ask whether the promise changes your behavior. This does not mean cynicism is wisdom. Cynicism can become another trap. If you believe everyone is equally fake, you stop checking. And when you stop checking, the worst actors get more room. The better posture is disciplined distrust, not blind hatred, not blind loyalty. Disciplined distrust says, show me the mechanism. Show me the trade-off. Show me who benefits. Show me what you did when nobody was clapping. That mindset is powerful because it breaks the spell. A con artist needs speed. Sign now. Donate now. Buy now. Panic now. Vote now or lose everything. The antidote is slowing the moment down. At the store, slowing down means checking the unit price, asking whether the sale requires more than you need, noticing the smaller package, and resisting the item placed exactly where your tired hand will reach. In politics, slowing down means asking whether a viral clip tells the whole story, whether a bill name hides the content, whether outrage is being monetized, and whether the person blaming others has measurable results. The uncomfortable truth is that ordinary people are not only victims. We also reward the performance. We click the angriest clip. We share the simplest blame. We buy the shiny sale. We choose convenience and then resent the bill. That is human. It is also profitable. The systems around us are built by people who understand our shortcuts better than we do. The goal is not shame. The goal is awareness. Once you see the pattern, a grocery receipt becomes a political document. It shows supply chains, corporate strategy, labor pressure, global risk, policy choices, household time, and the cost of convenience in one narrow strip of paper. And a campaign ad becomes a grocery package. Bright colors, big claim, emotional promise, carefully selected facts, missing trade-offs. A price you may not understand until after you have already bought in. This is why the title hits a nerve. Every politician is a con artist is not a courtroom charge. It is a warning about incentives. The system pushes them to simplify, dramatize, personalize, and monetize pain. The same system punishes honesty. Imagine a candidate saying, I can help a little, but prices depend on global shocks, corporate decisions, weather, labor markets, monetary policy, and consumer behavior. That candidate may be correct. That candidate may also lose. Voters say they want truth. Often, we punish truth when it sounds weak. We reward confidence, even when confidence is just costume jewelry. That is how the con becomes a partnership between seller and buyer. Still, responsibility is not equal. Politicians ask for power. They ask for trust. They ask for money. They ask for votes. The higher the request, the higher the duty to speak plainly. Companies have duties too, but they are not elected to love you. They are built to compete, grow, and return value to owners. Sometimes serving the customer supports that goal. Sometimes confusing the customer supports it better. This is why consumer protection matters. Clear unit pricing matters. Honest packaging matters. Real competition matters. Transparent fees matter. Strong merger review matters. Data privacy matters. These are boring phrases with direct consequences. Politicians who care about grocery pain should be judged on those boring details. Did they improve transparency? Did they strengthen competition? Did they protect consumers from deceptive practices? Did they reduce bottlenecks? Did they explain limits honestly? Do not judge only the speech. Judge the plumbing. The plumbing is where power moves. A country can drown in beautiful speeches while the pipes carry money in the opposite direction. There is also a trap in blaming only corporations. Sometimes voters demand cheap prices, high wages, local sourcing, perfect convenience, endless choice, fast delivery, small farms, strict standards, and no trade-offs. Those goals can collide. That collision is where adults should govern. But campaigns are not built for adult trade-offs. They are built for emotional contrast. My side loves you. Their side sold you out. Simple, repeatable, profitable. The grocery store is honest about one thing politics hides. Every choice has a cost. Buy convenience, pay more. Buy bulk, need storage. Buy premium, pay for signal. Buy cheap, maybe sacrifice preference. Buy the deal, maybe buy too much. Politics has costs too. Cut taxes, reduce revenue unless growth or cuts fill the gap. Raise benefits, fund them somehow. Regulate prices, watch supply response. Break up power, manage transition. Do nothing, let pain continue. A real leader explains costs before collecting applause. A con artist collects applause by hiding costs until later. That is the line viewers should remember. Now think about the phrase, fighting for you. It is one of the most profitable sentences in politics. It sounds personal. It requires no measurable outcome. A politician can fight forever and still never solve the thing that hurts you. Stores use a similar phrase, saving you money. A store can save you money on one item while raising the total basket through placement, promotions, data, impulse, and convenience. The claim can be true and incomplete. That is the pattern again. True and incomplete. The most durable con is not pure fiction. It is selective truth delivered with emotional timing. If you want to see this clearly, compare your cart over time, not just one receipt. Track the items you buy often. Watch package sizes. Watch which discounts require the app. Watch whether deals make you buy more than planned. Then, compare politicians the same way. Track outcomes over time, not speeches, not scandals only, not vibes. Outcomes. Did the promised relief appear? Who gained power? Who gained money? What explanation came when the promise shrank? This kind of tracking is not exciting. That is why it works. The con thrives in drama. Accountability lives in repetition. One of the sharpest tricks is moving the reference point. A store raises a price, then later offers a sale that feels generous. A politician helps create a crisis, then campaigns as the person who can rescue you from it. Not every price sale is fake, and not every political rescue is cynical. But the structure invites suspicion. If someone benefits from both the problem and the rescue, slow down. The checkout line is where the abstraction ends. A family does not care whether the pressure came from monetary policy, market concentration, weather, disease, or delivery fees. They care that the same money buys less comfort. That pain deserves better than slogans. It deserves policies that admit complexity and still act. It deserves markets that compete on real value, not confusion. It deserves labels people can read and fees people can understand. It also deserves voters who refuse to be flattered into blindness. You are not wise because your side said the other side is corrupt. You are wise when you can examine your own side without fear. The hardest con to escape is the one that tells you that you are too smart to be conned. Everyone is vulnerable. Smart people fall for identity. Busy people fall for convenience. Angry people fall for blame. Hopeful people fall for promises. That is why humility is protection. Assume you can be nudged. Assume a headline can frame you. Assume a sale tag can distract you. Assume a politician can speak to your wound while serving another interest. Then build habits that make manipulation harder. Compare, pause, read, ask, track. Reward honesty when you see it. Stop treating complexity like betrayal. Sometimes the person giving you the complicated answer is the only one respecting you. The grocery bill will not be fixed by one villain story. The political system will not be fixed by one heroic outsider. The economy is not a movie, and citizens are not extras waiting for a savior. But small forms of clarity compound. A shopper who understands unit pricing is harder to exploit. A voter who understands incentives is harder to harvest. A public that demands mechanisms, not slogans, is harder to con. The next time someone promises lower prices, ask how. The next time a store promises savings, ask compared with what. The next time a campaign asks for rage, ask who profits from keeping you furious. The point is not to trust nobody. The point is to stop giving trust away for free. Trust should be earned in receipts, records, details, and outcomes. Because the con is not only in Washington. It is in the shelf tag that hides the unit price, the app that makes the discount feel exclusive, the package that quietly shrinks, and the speech that turns your grocery pain into somebody else's ladder. Politicians are not magicians, and prices are not spells. But the performance works because people are tired, scared, and hungry for control. That hunger is the market. That hunger is the campaign. That hunger is the opening. So here is the clean recap. Official inflation can slow while life stays expensive. Grocery pricing is shaped by costs, competition, packaging, data, convenience, and strategy. Politicians turn that pain into simple stories because simple stories move people. The biggest takeaway is not that everyone is equally bad. It is that incentives matter more than speeches. Stores respond to profit incentives. Campaigns respond to attention incentives. Politicians respond to power incentives. Voters and shoppers pay when they forget that. If this video made the checkout line look different, like it, share it with someone who keeps saying groceries make no sense, and comment with this question: what is one price, fee, package, or political promise you no longer trust?